Hey there, Tara, I guess, because you'll be watching this back. Um, right, so going back, worthiness and hierarchy. And I thought was coming up just about how, trying to figure out how this started actually. It started by me thinking about my capacity to create things. And no, crap, yes, um, I have behavior that tend to people get annoyed because it's not my typical behavior, not people's typical behavior, and I will push a little bit harder, which I have no problem doing with. I've always done this even as a teenager. And so the liaison of all this was yesterday at work. I was like, hey, let's do this. And I did it. And then like people were like, because you're changing things around. So that's what I was doing, not in a bad way. And then, yeah, I really don't care. Video log, video log, video log, video log. This is a good exercise for me too. Um, yes, and I was thinking how also in my previous company in Hong Kong with a friend of well, my colleague and friend, we organized the office annual dinner. 60 people, murder mystery, and the one of the executives was not pretty positive, optimistic about the fact that this murder mystery would last 2.5 hours. And he was like, you got to keep it short, you got to do it short. And both my colleague and I were like, no, we're not keeping it short because it's a murder mystery and you got to go through all the things. And how the way that I organized the murder mystery. So in murder mysteries, if you've never done one, you assign roles to the people that are attending when it's a participative murder mystery. And each people in that case would have the characters, and then they have things to say to the other people, and they'll have people to go and ask questions to. And you tend to have major characters that you have to go to on a regular basis to ask questions. And so I consciously chose the characters that would need to be asked questions to be the high level executives that most employees would not talk to, right? So we're talking about 60 people, about say 10-ish like higher executive level. And so I made sure that the 50 people would be the ones that would have to ask questions to the other 10, so they would actually be talking to people in the office they never talk to or barely talk to because of hierarchy. And that's why I'm going to the hierarchy and worthiness. It has a link. um, and I did this consciously because I personally have no problem talking to anybody of any level. Everybody's human. And actually, when you look at people, the higher they be, sometimes the more secluded other people would look at them because they're like, oh no, your hierarchy, I can't talk to them, I can't approach them, I can't. And there's this limiting belief in your mind. And it's a societal construct, right? And I understand the respecting, right? And then I went into my mind about respect and how in many cultures there's this respect your elders, right? Which is completely comprehensible. And then I was like, well, I choose to respect all. So people who would be hierarchical above me, so people who are older than me, but I also respect people who are the same age as me, and I also respect people who are younger than me. And I'm not going to say always, that's not true, but I've been doing that definitely since 2017, 18, or 19 onwards. This is, oh, you have the date with the video recorded, 2023. And say, yeah. And then it went on. My brain went on to think. It's hard putting words to your thoughts when your brain works at 3,000 miles an hour. Oh my gosh. My brain went in to think, if you think that people above you, you gotta respect more, and you treat yourself as you treat yourself, then you also think in your mind that people under you are less worthy of respect. So you're worthier than them. Now, this is all subconscious and you don't think about it, but logically, it's the truth. Because if you believe that your elders or your superiors are worthier, or you've got to respect them more, and you're at a lower level, first of all, you see yourself less than because of the above. And then you see that gives you, and I'm air quoting here because it's not true, the right to see people less worthy, right? And really air quote because this is a subconscious mind that's all doing this. Like if you think people are worthier, then you think you're just basis, then you think people are less than. And therefore your behavior, like if you treat people higher up with more respect, with more value, how are you treating the people underneath you? And I mean, I can see this in cultures all over the world, and it's not everybody, right? It is so not everybody. And these are my thoughts that I'm sharing. So if you are disagreeing with any of this, you're totally allowed to. Like these are my personal thoughts, right? So it's not because I know not only Tara's gonna be watching this, maybe somebody else. So don't go in like snapping comments at me saying, I don't believe you. Well, I don't you you believe what you want to believe and you have your own brain, you have your own mindset. That is totally okay. And if this triggers you, well, I invite you to have a look at what's being triggered inside of you. This is me, the coach, talking because there's definitely something there. And if you really feel the urge of writing something negative, yeah, you really need to look inside that woman. Yeah, that's all I can say. Right. So back to what my thoughts were saying. This is me being aware of this is being public, by the way, and how online works. Um, yeah, and so anyway, so that's what I was coming to, and I think that's about the wrapping up of this thought because um, I was like, oh my gosh, so many people I see are so afraid of talking to people, and I understand like I'm not used to it. There's a fear of also how you're going to be perceived, if you're going to be judged, if you're going to be thought that you're not smart, not good enough, whatever, and it's all internal, right? It's an internal dialogue that's going on in your mind. Um, but yeah, anyway, so back to the hierarchy and the worthiness. When you truly believe in hierarchy, and I think like for roles in company roles, you have the hierarchy in a way. Um, the thought that comes through that the whole sort of coming out of this, you try putting words to your thoughts and see how it is. um, yeah, so the thought that was going through is like, yes, I understand how procedures go through certain levels, and that's totally okay. But it's the subconscious programming of how you behave towards the people that I'm sort of putting into awareness, light, just saying like, how do you treat because of that? How do you see yourself? And by the way, there's a study done on prisoners on how, yeah, I didn't do this link. If you see us as others unworthy, by the way, and you're good you can think whatever you want. If you see us others unworthy, it's because you don't truly believe deep down to your core that you deserve to be treated in a certain way, and that you're worthy too, that you're valuable too. Now you can negate this all you want. Between the psychology research, the studies, the science, and all that, that's proven. So, you know what? Believe whatever you want if you truly want to feel yourself worthy. And I'm not talking about changing the external world because that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen until you change yourself. So, um, yes. And so about the study, there's been a study in prisoners um, in the US showing that because they see themselves as unworthy, they treat others like crap. And that's why they treat others like crap. And they've had programs where they actually work on the prisoner's worthiness. And once that prisoners work on their, see how valuable they are and their worthiness, when they go back out, when they finish their sentence, they are less likely to go back to prison because they are less likely to harm others again. So they've been studied on this, right? So the conclusion of all this, if you're not Tara watching this, hi Tara, and then hi you, um, is be kind to yourself. Value yourself. And not on an ego boost like I'm better than other people, just value yourself. I am worthy. I am good enough. I'm not too much. I'm not too little. I am enough. And I'll say it to you. You are worthy. You are good enough. You're not too much anything. You're not too little anything. You are enough just as you are. So, thank you for watching this. And see you in my next vlog. Bye.